Hello there. These are a few videos. I'll chop them up into little clips, but I might use this as the intro for each of them. All I'm talking about is this concept or this idea of melody that we hear, which can be quite abstract and for some people a bit elusive when it comes to the drums. But here's how I think about it. Apart from what's self-evident in that you have different tones, and so anytime you have different sounds you can kind of create melody, there's an almost impressionistic structure, or you can create the impression of sort of chordal movement or a harmony I've spoken about before. There's a bit of talking in these videos anyway, only a little brief bit. But say for example, the harder you strike a drum or a cymbal, it changes the overtones. And in the case of a drum, it can almost seemingly change the pitch. So if you think about it more impressionistically, we're not actually trying to play notes and chords. And I know there's one drum company in particular that you're all familiar with, that stamp the inside of their toms with a note. But we all know that it's, even if you tune that to, let's say, a D, it's never really a D. It might be the moment you strike the drum, but all the overtones, it's not like striking a D string on a guitar and it rings and sings out. But anyway, if you think about impressionistic painting, all the detail isn't there, but if you stand back and look at it, you get the impression of the painting. You can kind of make out that there's a dam and there's a bridge or whatever it may be. So this is my thinking and approach to if I'm going to try to produce melodies using the drums and play it in a melodic way. The same thing applies to the cymbals, of course. So check it out. There's one where I talk about the blues, that question from the Tony Williams Clinic, where he really roasts the guy. And it was a funny question, but I think I get where he was coming from. So you can kind of play an impressionistic blues on the drums depending on how they're tuned and everything. I don't tune my drums in any particular way. I just tune them to where, to me, they sing, and I like drums that sing and ring and all of that, largely for this purpose. So there's a couple here. Leave your comments and things and let me know what you think. And I think this is a real kind of simple, matter-of-fact approach to playing melodies on the drums, to just playing melodies and using your imagination to kind of construct the rest in the spirit of, I guess, like impressionistic painting. So see what you think. And this is also a way of approaching melody on the drums in not a literal sense. I love Terry Bozzio, and I loved that whole thing that he did, turning the drums into kind of like a piano. And I went down that road a little while back, years ago actually. And eventually I decided that the drums weren't that. They're not a piano. They don't play chords, and that's not their role. As much as I love, what Terry does and everything, it's awesome. But for me personally, I felt that the harmony of a drum set is kind of the harmony of a drum set. It has its own voice and its own harmony, and it's impressionistic. But anyway, there you go. Let me know what you think, comments and all that stuff. And if you'd like me to do any more of these. This is just randomly improvised. No prep, haven't played that day. It's about sitting down and having an idea and then developing that. All right, cheers. There's that Tony Williams clinic where someone asks a question and they say to him, "Can you play a blues?" And it kind of gets laughed off, and Tony Williams kind of tortures him a bit. But maybe I think I know what he meant. Or anyway, if you think there's 3 sounds, it's sort of like 3 chords. They're not really, true pitches, and all the overtones aren't chords, but you can kind of pretend. See what happens. Maybe.